Tonight on KPBS Evening Edition, the San Onofre nuclear power plant won't be restarted anytime soon. We'll have the latest word from its operator. And there was a passionate debate before the Planning Commission today over a controversial proposal to remove cars from the heart of Balboa Park.
Nearly every teacher at one San Diego elementary school got a layoff notice last month. Find out why the school's principal believes her school was harder hit by layoffs than others. Evening Edition starts now.
Good evening. Thanks for joining us. I'm Dwayne Brown. The San Onofre nuclear power plant may not go back online until the end of August. The plant's been shut down since January because of problems with tubes carrying radioactive water. They're wearing out faster than expected. Southern California Edison, the operator, says it will submit plans to restart the plant by the end of July, but getting approval from the Nuclear Regulatory Commission could take weeks. State officials have warned of possible rotating blackouts if there's a heat wave while the plant is offline. Computer experts are looking into a possible hacking attempt on the county's election website Tuesday night. It didn't affect any vote counts, but it did keep people from accessing election results and other county websites for more than an hour. KPBS got results through a direct feed on election night. Now, the county is trying to track down who's responsible for the breach to ensure it doesn't happen again. San Diego City leaders say it's time to take action on the voter-approved pension reform measure, and they're urging union leaders to meet them at the negotiating table. KPBS Metro reporter Katie Orr is following this. She joins us from the news center. What are city leaders proposing, Katie?
Well, City Attorney Jan Goldsmith is putting forward a 5-point plan to implement Prop B. First, he's petitioning a court to combine all of the 5 cases currently pending against the measure into one case. Then, beginning in either July or August when the measure is certified, the city needs to freeze hiring until it comes up with a 401k plan for employees. For non-union employees, the city can just impose a plan, but for union employees, the unions must agree on the plan. So Goldsmith is asking for the unions to come negotiate with the city. And he says he's also like to talk to the unions about a global settlement that would deal with all the issues surrounding pensions.
There's been talk of a lawsuit, Katie. How likely will Prop B get implemented quickly?
Well, the unions have said they did not campaign against Prop B because they were saving their money for a legal fight. So that may tell you something about how willing they are to negotiate. Look, they think the measure is illegal. They think the mayor acted illegally in supporting it, and they think this will reduce the quality of the workforce that the city will see in the future. And ultimately, it means that their new members won't get a pension. So I imagine that they'll fight this measure pretty hard in court.
KPBS Metro reporter Katie Orr. It may be weeks before we actually have a final tally in some of Tuesday's races. The county registrar says there are still 135,000 ballots uncounted. The absentee and provisional ballots must be verified. Statewide, about 800,000 ballots haven't been counted. They could make a big difference for Prop 29, the cigarette tax. It's losing by less than 2 percentage points. Also too close to call, the second-place finisher in San Diego's 52nd congressional district race, Scott Peters and Lori Saldana, are just a few tenths of a point apart. The San Diego Planning Commission has recommended approval of a controversial plan to remove cars from the heart of Balboa Park. The commission heard hours of testimony from folks both opposed and in favor of the Plaza de Panama project. It would remove cars and parking lots from the area of the Prado. It has the support of Mayor Jerry Sanders and philanthropist Irwin Jacobs, who is a supporter of KPBS. It would cost more than $40 million in donations, but its designer says it's worth it.
Well, it is a significant project. There's no question about it. But there's a significant problem in the park, and you can't really fix a problem the scale that we have with tiny solutions.
The plan's opponents include historic preservationists. They especially object to a large traffic bypass bridge connected to Cabrillo Bridge. It crosses Route 163.
This is something I think we would regret the rest of our lives, and future generations would ask, what were we thinking about?
The Plaza de Panama project also includes an underground parking garage. It would house nearly 800 cars. The plan now goes to the full city council. Monday we may find out whether the U.S. Supreme Court will hear arguments over the cross on Mount Soledad. The justices voted today on whether to take up the case, but their decision won't be announced until next week. Last year, an appeals court ruled the cross unconstitutional. Proponents of the cross say it's a military memorial. Reducing carbon emissions, that's the goal of California's cap-and-trade program. Joanne Farian takes a look at what it could mean for San Diego.
By forcing businesses in California to pay for the carbon emissions they produce, the state hopes to reduce greenhouse gases in the long run. But in the short term, the cap-and-trade program is also expected to bring in about $1 billion. Where will that money go? Joining me to help answer that question is Jim Waring, CEO and President of CleanTECH San Diego. Thanks for being here, Jim.
My pleasure. Thanks for having me.
First, explain the organization that you represent. Where are you coming from in terms of all of this?
Well, CleanTECH San Diego is a nonprofit trade organization, and we were formed to try to develop in our region the businesses, a business development organization around clean technologies, green technologies, and sustainability.
Now, when I say cap and trade, and I confess when I hear cap and trade, I often think, what are they talking about? I tried to explain a little bit in my introduction, but clarify what the program really is.
Sure, and I'll try to do it in a way that I understand it. And the cap is the amount, in this case, the amount of CO2 that a covered business may omit. So that's the cap. Think of that as the ceiling. The trade portion is that if you save some of that cap, if you have a surplus, and you may sell that in the market, you may trade it in the market. So the market, the trade part is what businesses save from their allowances and what the state of California has reserved to itself to sell into the market.
So first of all, when you say covered business, you mean a business that has to follow the rules under this program.
And the state intentionally limited the program to what's called large emitters. And large emitters are enterprises that emit more than 25,000 metric tons of CO2 equivalents. Now, what does that mean? To put it in comparison, the average family of 4 in their normal year emits 20 metric tons. So think 20 metric tons versus 25,000 metric tons. So the program's intentionally designed to focus on large enterprises.
We're going to show actually some local companies that are affected by cap and trade. We'll put some of the names up on the screen so people at home can see.
Sure.
For example, Qualcomm, SDG&E. Now, let's say you're a company and for whatever reason you can't get to that cap. You're above that. That means I can go to the marketplace and I can pay for someone's credit, right?
That's correct. You buy the additional credits. Some people would say you buy the right to pollute, but what you're really doing is you're buying tons of CO2 emissions allowances. That's correct.
So if I'm a really wealthy, profitable company, doesn't it just mean I can just buy my way out of this?
Well, no. First of all, the economic incentive, you're not going, as a company, or an organization, you're not going to incur a cost just because it's easier. You're going to try to not have to buy those credits because it's in your economic interest to do so. So the leadership of these organizations will do what they can do internally to reduce their total carbon emissions, because the goal is to lower your emissions. And the way the program is designed, each year between 2013 and 2020, the amount of allowance that a organization has goes down. So the pressure will increase to become more efficient.
So there is going to be this trading now in the marketplace. I mentioned the state could end up really netting some money out of this. How does that work?
Well, the state, to basically balance the market, remember the state is issuing the credits. So the state is retaining to itself, as it should, a certain number of allowances to sell. So the state will sell those into the marketplace, and therefore the state will get the money, will get the proceeds.
About $1 billion, that's what experts are saying. So where does that money go?
Yeah, there's a big debate about that, obviously, and the cynics will say that the state's using this as a way just to raise money to spend. But I will say that it will ultimately be a political decision that will be made by the legislature with the governor. But the discussions to date have been to spend the money on energy-related programs. Remember, cap and trade is part of our AB 32 protocols. And I'm seeing, and most of the people I talk to are seeing, that the discussion is how to spend it within the goals of AB 32, which is to reduce our state's carbon footprint to 1990 levels by 2020. And hopefully the political pressures won't have that money be diverted.
We're out of time, Jim, but this has been a great explanation. I want to send people also to kpbs.org because I know you earlier today you spoke with Maureen Cavanaugh, and there's a much longer conversation about all of this. Thanks a lot, Jim.
Thank you.
Doctors say about 11,000 people a year suffer unintentional injuries in San Diego County, ranging from falls, vehicle accidents, drowning, to something falling on top of you. Today was the premiere of a home safety video inspired by a San Diego family's tragedy. 20-month-old Keegan Wallace is doing what most toddlers do at his age, getting into stuff. He's at a movie theater in Mission Valley where scores of people have come to watch a home prevention safety video. It features the Wallace family who tragically lost their 3-year-old daughter, Kendall, in 2005.
It was a short 3-drawer dresser.
And she had opened the drawers to use it as a ladder and climb up, and in the process it came over on top of her.
Eric and Nikki Wallace say it was a preventable accident.
We had what we thought to be all the child safety in place in the home, and it was a minor, what we thought to be a minor thing that got overlooked, and which ended up being the one thing that we missed.
Dr. Raul Coimbra with UC San Diego Health says the missing link to dealing with unintentional injuries is proper prevention. He says drowning is a high risk, especially for young children, and falling for the elderly.
So securing furniture and rugs at home, making sure that the elderly population has access to vision and care, and to primary care physicians to make sure that they can get out there and walk and drive, etc.
The home safety makeover video is being distributed to social service agencies, hospitals, and cable channels to provide the public tips on injury prevention. Now, the video was paid for by the Trauma Research Education Foundation, a group supported by the 6 trauma centers in San Diego County, and Safe Kids San Diego.
More than 1,500 layoff notices were sent to schools throughout San Diego's largest school district. But one school, an elementary school in southeast San Diego, will be hit especially hard. Fay Elementary learned 27 out of 29 of its teachers will be laid off. Joining me is the principal of Fay Elementary, Eileen Moreno. Thanks for being here, Eileen.
Thank you.
How is this even possible? You need teachers in order to have a school. So how did 27 teachers get layoff notices?
Well, what happens is layoffs go by seniority, and I have about 17 teachers who have 8-9 years of seniority, and we keep thinking every year it's this time we're safe.
Right, you think that's enough, right?
Every year for the past 5 years we've thought we were safe, but apparently not. And the reason is this core group of teachers, they started their career together 8, 9, and 10 years ago at our school, and the remaining teachers, they range anywhere from first-year teachers to 6 and 7 years as well. But this time the layoffs went as far back as, you know, all the way back to 10 years.
So they're the first to go, but it doesn't necessarily mean they are going. Now, I want to put up some numbers just to show the people at home what I mean by that. Last year, in 2011, pink slips went out, these layoff notices, to more than 1,300 teachers. Final layoff notices, about half, 743. But then the school goes and rehires them back, 466, and then as late as October, we're already in the school year, they hire more back. Same thing's happening this year. We look at 2012, pink slips, 1,600. Now here's where the number gets really interesting. Final layoff notices, 1,500, so even more layoff notices, which really speaks to your school, because now we're going back to 8 or 9 years experience.
Correct.
So didn't this happen to you last year?
It did. In fact, it's happened for the last 5 years. So my teachers get the initial layoff notice in March. However, last year they were rescinded fairly quickly for a vast majority of them. And then over the months, over the summer, they were rescinding a little bit more at a time, and where I ended up being able to bring back that big core group of teachers. And I started with some new teachers kind of at the last minute. This is the first time, however, that we get to the point where they receive their final layoff letter. This has never happened before.
So in theory, you will have all new teachers, almost all new teachers, starting the school year.
In theory, yes.
When will you know?
That's a very good question. I can tell you that next Monday, the district is supposed to put up what's called the post-in bid, which is where they post all available positions and allowing teachers who are not laid off to then bid for any positions that they want. So that's supposed to happen next Monday, and I believe it closes down on the 20th of June. After that, for about a week, Human Resources sifts through all the bids to make sure qualified people did bid. And then about a week later, they hand us the names, and we get to start interviewing.
So fundamentally, what's wrong? What's wrong with the system that creates this very elaborate game of musical chairs with teachers in terms of whether they're going to be at your school, another school, or even be at a school at all?
You know, I think that the blame game can just go around in circles. But fundamentally, I think that we have a problem with equity. I firmly believe that for all the talk about equity, not at the local level, at the state level, at the national level, when we see these things happening at schools such as Fay and City Heights, and actually if you look through the whole list and you were to look at the types of schools that were most impacted this way, there's a pattern that jumps out at you. They're the low poverty schools, and there's no equity. I think that's the fundamental problem, is that there's too much talk about equity and not enough action, because this is something that can be fixed.
But it's happening in low-income schools, low-income neighborhoods.
That's where the majority, I'm not saying it's not happening in others, but the majority of it, when you look down the list, is in the low-income schools, because it is more challenging to work in some of our low-income schools, and so a lot of teachers understandably get to a point where they prefer to move on to something different, and that's how we end up with a lot of the so-called newer teachers.
Right. In the end, Eileen, what does this mean for the kids who go to that school?
In the end, this means that they are going to potentially lose out. Now, when I say that, I mean I have a job to do, and I'm going to do it no matter what. I have a plan in place. I'm hoping for the best, but I'm prepared for the worst. There will be teachers. It's not like Fay Elementary will have no teachers. The question is, will it be all new teachers and children who've been seeing the same teachers, that their families have built relationships over the years? Are they going to walk in and none of those smiling faces are going to be there for them? And how is that going to make the children feel?
Eileen Moreno, thank you so much for being here.
Thank you.
A small cottage suspended 100 feet and permanently attached to the Jacobs Hall campus building opened to visitors today. The Fallen Star is the latest addition to UC San Diego's Stewart Collection. It explores the feeling of displacement many students feel and the notion of home. Built from scratch last fall, the Fallen Star sticks out at a 10-degree angle. It's been fully furnished and includes a garden. Some visitors describe a sense of falling when inside the home. At Spanish Landing Park, just across from Lindbergh Field, you may have noticed wooden beams rising from behind the trees. It's not a new playground or art installation, but a unique construction project dating back 500 years. KPBS video journalist Katie Ufrat brings us the story.
This empty parking lot on San Diego Bay has been transformed into a 16th century shipyard, where the San Diego Maritime Museum is resurrecting the San Salvador, the first ship to land on San Diego's shores. But you don't need to wait until construction is complete to sail back in time. Pay $5 at Spanish Landing Park and you can watch firsthand as volunteers and Maritime Museum employees build an historically accurate replica of the Spanish galleon.
It's just a huge undertaking just from we're using 10 different woods and then having the right team to be able to shape them and fit all of these pieces, because the ship is literally a basket and they all have to sit and work together and be strong and stout.
Bruce Heyman heads up the project for the Maritime Museum. He says many San Diegans stop by to see what the ruckus is, but leave knowing the history of their city.
I think it will attract people's attention to the history and, our founding. I mean, I've been here for 35 years, but have never really paid attention much to any of that.
In 1542, Juan Rodriguez Cabrillo sailed his flagship into San Diego Bay, becoming the first European to discover what is now San Diego. He claimed it for Spain. Cabrillo was sailing from Mexico looking for a quicker route to the Spice Islands. A special exhibit at the construction site houses replicas of the dwellings and canoes used by the native Kumeyaay Indians Cabrillo met when he landed. So far, 3/4 of the $6.2 million needed for the project has been raised, thanks to private donations and a major grant from the Coastal Conservancy Commission. The San Salvador is being built almost exclusively of wood, the way it was built in the 1500s. The wood is carefully chosen by lead shipwright Frank Townsend, some cuts coming all the way from Africa and South America. Only pieces with no imperfections are used.
We ended up using 6 semi-truckloads. That's about approximately 300,000 pounds of wood. And we probably came out with 10 or 12,000 pounds on the boat. There's a lot of scrap around.
The only, although major, difference in how they're building it today compared to 1542, power tools.
If Juan Rodriguez Cabrillo had an AC outlet, he would have plugged a power tool into it and used it. But we also have much more rigorous standards that we have to achieve now.
That's because once it's finished, the San Salvador will take student groups and paying passengers on historical sailing trips, following the route of Spanish exploration. But the replica will have some modern upgrades. Think toilets, refrigerators, and 2 giant diesel engines. For now, workers painstakingly carve and sand the wood using huge tools like this 7,000-pound ship saw with a 24-foot blade built in 1920. No plans of the original San Salvador exist, so the museum consulted dozens of experts to reach a consensus on the ship's appearance. This idea has been in the works for 20 years, but construction just began in February of last year.
It's really like a time machine in ways. Even though we use power tools, we're using the same technology. And nobody here has built a Spanish galleon. So everybody's relying on each other. And we're figuring things out as we go along. That's like an adventure.
In the end, they settled on a 95-foot-long body with a mast that will rise 100 feet off the deck. Retired plumber Roy Libby is one of the volunteers making it happen.
I'm living my fantasy here. And ever since I read Robert Louis Stevenson's Treasure Island, I've wanted to sail away to Treasure Island.
With a photo taken every day from May 2011 through last week.
Sailboat.
This time-lapse shows the construction progress, with a photo taken every day from May 2011 through mid-April 2012. The goal is to be finished by the end of 2013. That's almost 3 years construction time. It took Cabrillo less than half that time nearly 500 years ago, but he had help that isn't available today.
But he also had a lot more labor. Unfortunately, probably a lot of the 100 people that he had helping to build it, many of them were slaves, probably. It was a different time and a different place.
We don't have that many slaves. I think we just passed 60 volunteers.
The great thing about it is that the people here are supplying the expertise and the money to build the ship, and all I have to do is what I'm told and be diligent.
Volunteers, like Libby, make up more than half the workforce. But even with the help, Heyman estimates the ship will take 90,000 hours of work to reach completion.
I'm excited for it to be finished. I want to ride on it, and I don't even mind paying because I want to continue to support the museum. It's a wonderful thing for San Diego.
That story from KPBS video journalist Katie Ufrat. The construction site is open to the public daily from 11 to 4:30 in the afternoon. If a hike in the woods is more to your taste, you can do it for free Saturday at any national forest. It's National Get Outdoors Day, and the Forest Service is waiving the adventure pass normally required to visit, but you still have to pay for campgrounds and group sites.
Tonight in the public square. Yesterday on KPBS's Midday Edition, the County Registrar of Voters said she saw an unusually high number of so-called frivolous write-in votes in Tuesday's election. Names like Donald Duck were written on a, quote, tremendous, end of quote, number of ballots, according to Registrar Deborah Seiler. Some of you didn't like Seiler's choice of words. Hazel Eyes writes on KPBS.org. I was one of those write-in voters. To be honest, I'm offended about this quote. Seiler also said in every primary election, she sees lots of voters who tend to be a little bit careless in their voting. In regards to writing in on a ballot, I was making an attempt to show that I was unhappy with any of the candidates. And Eva says votes of no confidence should be counted to create a quantitative figure to those who've lost faith in electoral politics, but care enough to actively represent that loss of faith through their votes. Well, have you lost faith in the system? Write to me and let me know if I can use your comments on air. Send me an email, jfarian@kpbs.org, or you can also share your thoughts on Twitter or Facebook.
And you can find tonight's stories on our website, kpbs.org/evening edition. Thank you for joining us. Have a great night.